Is Fortnite's ranked loot pool bad? Now, I have a whole list of everything that's in it right now. I want to go through each section and kind of describe, is this currently balanced or is it not? So firstly up, if we have the assault rifles, there's 3 of them in the current meta, which would be the Striker assault rifle, Nemesis, and then last week, or this week, however long ago it was, the Enforcer assault rifle was also added. Now, assault rifles are in a very strange place with the bullet drop-off, in particular because at long range, they're just really, really overshadowed by the strength of the snipers. It's like there's almost no point in trying to go for extremely long range shots when you could just hit a body shot with a sniper, especially since you have to lead almost the same amount, and it's almost as difficult to hit a tap fire shot with an assault rifle as it is with a sniper rifle. The exception to this is the Striker assault rifle, which in medium and close range is incredibly powerful. Like, I still don't think people are really starting to complain about it as much, maybe just because of bullet drop off. But if you get beamed by a Striker assault rifle, it is insane. So I think maybe one of the fixes that we could have to the assault rifles in general would be just to completely remove the drop-off damage. I think that's the way to put it. So after certain distances, assault rifles do less damage. So if you shoot someone from like, I think it's over 100 meters might be the weakest, and it loses around like 20% of its damage. I think if you were to remove that altogether, which, because it doesn't really make sense now that bullet drop-off, aka the, what's the way to word it, the actual distance that travels and speed that it travels at is in, I don't think the damage really should be nerfed at longer ranges, and that might give them a little bit more of a buff. However, I do think that the Striker AR should still be nerfed at close range as well. Maybe just remove 1 or 2 damage per rarity, because it is insanely powerful. There has been a few times where I've just been beamed by this by like 180 HP, almost dead instantly. And I think maybe when it comes to more dual cash cups, I think people will start to realize it a bit more, because I think something that's really important to remember is all of the solo cash cups, which is the majority of the tournaments that have been played this season already, have just been like shotgun only in their inventory, heals playing for heal off, trying to win. When we start to see like higher level tournaments, I think that's when we're really going to start to see people taking the Striker AR and absolutely railing people with it, or just lots of snipers. So assault rifles, in my opinion, need a little bit of a change. Just given the current balance. Now, shotguns, there's 2 in the meta, of course, the hammer pump shotgun and the frenzy auto shotgun. I'm not gonna lie, hammer pump shotgun is probably one of my favorite shotguns that I've really ever seen. I really like the small crosshair. It's super accurate. You can hit really, really good shots with it. High damage, but also at the same time, I think it's really rewarding because it's a fast pull-up time. So I feel like this shotgun has just been made for competitive generally. So love the hammer pump. No complaints with it. Frenzy auto shotgun, it's still a little bit insane when you get straight into someone's box. I think if you see someone with a Mythic them, it's incredibly broken there. But again, I don't think it's the most broken. I think we need to wait maybe a couple more weeks, see some like higher level tournaments and see better players playing with it to see if it's truly busted. But I think shotgun meta overall in a good place. SMGs. Now there's 2. There's the Hyper SMG and of course the Thunder Burst. Hyper SMG, let me see what the DPS of this is actually. Yeah, the Hyper SMG's damage per second is significantly lower than kind of ones that we've seen in previous seasons. Like the Gold, for example, is 192, and that is already like 50 damage per second less than some of the SMGs we've seen last season. So I think the Hyper SMG relatively well balanced in my opinion. Thunder Burst, again, not a lot of people have been starting to I would actually say a lot of people recently have been starting to catch on to truly how busted this is. A single burst with the green or above rarities does over 75 damage if you hit all 3 bullets, which for breaking structures is incredibly important. If you've watched any of my TikToks or my shorts, you'll have probably already seen it. I think I've done 2 on this weapon alone so far, so it's really, really good. And it's interesting, like the best SMG is a burst weapon, which is I think maybe the first time that's really ever happened, because historically they've always been obviously fully automatic weapons instead. So it's interesting to me that that's the balance. I don't think it's too broken yet, but again, I feel like it'll probably need to be nerfed once like better players start to use it, and in particular when you're playing duos and you're going to have one player on a team with one and another player on a team with one, and you have them pinch in between. Once we start to see more duo tournaments, I think more people will start to complain about the Thunderburst being really broken. But again, I don't think it's too bad in comparison to some of the other weapons that we've seen. The combat SMG. Next part is, yes, pistols. So in pistols, there's kind of 2 that are in here: the Ranger pistol, and then the you can technically classify the ballistic shield as a pistol as well, because you obviously use the pistol with the shield. Again, I think this is really good. Yeah, the pistols still have a 2x headshot multiplier. They're fully automatic, so still incredibly good weapons. I think obviously at range they're not very good, whereas historically once they were made automatic they were much better. However, right now I think they're still in a good place. It's a pistol. Let's be real, you don't want it to be super broken. No real complaints. The ballistic shield is kind of annoying for zero build, but you just spray it and eventually, like, that's it. You know, you just go away. But again, I've seen a bunch of clips of people winning zero build tournaments with the ballistic shield. It's always funny. But so I'm honestly not really. I don't feel like the ballistic shield is too OP and too broken, because you literally just have to keep your distance, spray it, and then they stand in the open, do a little dance, and it's like the freest elim ever. So, but it can be frustrating, and I do understand that. Next, sniper rifles. Big topic of discussion for anyone who's played this season at all. I love this sniper. I really do. And I know a lot of other people like it as well, but it's a love-hate relationship. I love it when I snipe someone in the face and I go, oh my god, I'm the best player in the world. But then when that exact same thing happens to me, I'm very unhappy. There's a lot of like TikTok montages of just saying like, this is how I play ranked, and it's just clips of them being sniped over and over again. I think we should never have a bolt action sniper rifle that has more than one bullet in the clip. I also think that if you change the scope to be, I don't know specifically if it's 2 or 4 times that have like a glare on them, and then less than that doesn't. But the reality is, if you're using a sniper rifle, regardless of what it is, regardless of what scope you should have on it, you should have a glint on it. So just something needs to change here. And like I mentioned earlier in the assault rifle section, this is made even more powerful by the fact that assault rifles are not that good at long range. So I think when it comes to FNCS in the next couple of weeks, I think almost every duo will be carrying an FNCS. They'll be carrying a sniper rifle. They'd be kind of stupid not to. I think something needs to be done, but since every weapon has bullet drop off, I don't really know what the solution is anymore, because it's just long range. You're going to use a sniper. So utility items, right now we got three utility items in there. It would be the grapple blade, and then we have the cluster clinger, and then the shockwave. So first one, we've got grapple blade. Grapple blade, I really like it as a form of utility. Actually, I think this is a really good mobility item to have in the game. The melee is like kind of pointless. I've yet to see like a cool clip of someone spinning and doing a bunch of damage with it. Maybe there's like some cool techers there that I am just yet to explore, but I don't think the actual damage of it is relatively high. The mobility item in itself is a grapple that's nowhere near as broken as some of the previous versions of a grapple, because you really can't like shoot as easily after it. You're quite exposed for a length of time. There's an animation when you start to use it, so you're kind of like stalling it in the air. You can't fly over things too easily. Obviously, the fact that it has infinite uses, I'm not particularly a big fan of. I'm not usually a big fan of like infinite mobility items, but I think the grapple blade's like a really good balance for casual play alongside also in competitive play, where it kind of fits both. It's not perfect for both, because in casual games, like in ranked, sometimes people just run, and that can be relatively frustrating. However, in tournaments, it's like it has infinite uses, so that's something I don't necessarily like. However, it's not that broken, so I think the grapple blade is, in my opinion, probably the least broken mobility item we've really ever had. So that gets like a really good high rating for me. I like that. Shockwaves, they're shockwave grenades. They're also not in competitive, which we'll come to later. And then the cluster clingers. Now these things are really annoying in early game if you're playing ranked. Having people throw a bunch of these on you, it's almost like you just don't know what's happening. I mean, I'm old, so maybe that's just me, where you sit there and you're like, it's an overload for the stimulus of the moment. It overloads my brain at the moment that it goes on. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. So they're kind of annoying for that reason. I don't really see them being as too broken. They're just one of those things that's annoying. You pick them up in the early game. Almost no one carries them through the game anyway in ranked. So, you know, they're obviously not having that big of an impact either. Of course, consumables. This is something that I think I give Epic a big props on this season, because they're really well balanced for the most part. I'm just scrolling through this list. You know, we don't have any super busted slurp juices like we had last season, which were very frustrating. There's no chug splashes. You know, we've now got the flowberries and the flowberry fizz, which are the two new items of that. And the flowberries give you 15 shield each, which is obviously nerfed down from what like a chug splash would be. You can only carry 6 of them too. Then the flowberry fizz at the same time has a little bit of a shake animation to warm itself up, so it's like you can't use it instantly either. So I actually think all of the consumables are really well balanced this season, and I really like the fact that Obviously, you can now move whilst using them. I will say, though, there's a few of these consumables which don't have that new movement function. So I think a lot of the fishes don't. So floppers, for example, you don't have that free movement ability while you're trying to pop them. You're still kind of stagnant. And I'm guessing shieldfish, maybe apples and bananas and all that are the same. I haven't tested those, but I know for a fact that floppers don't allow you to move while you're popping them. Or maybe that's just in creative. Maybe the maps I've been playing haven't updated them to non-OG floppers. But again, consumables look really good right now. And then I think the final two categories would be the medallions. I've already done a whole discussion video talking about the medallions, and I think that the changes to them have been really good. I think now they're in a place where they're worth going for in ranked and in tournaments. However, they're not super busted, so that it's really frustrating if you're fighting someone. I've been playing ranked quite a lot over the last day or two-ish just to try and feel it out, or really just since they were nerfed. And I feel like anytime I see someone with a medallion, I don't immediately go, oh my god, I'm gonna lose this fight, I have to play differently. It's just the fact that I'm reminded, okay, this guy has 3 seconds till his shield's gonna charge up. I need to make a play, I need to do something now. So, and when I have it myself, it's I give myself another opportunity to take a sniper, or have a little bit of a different loadout. I think they're really well balanced for ranked. And I'm actually excited to see how these play out in FNCS, in particular with the drop slots being so powerful. Final category would be the Mythics, of course. I just kind of skipped over the Mythics while talking about the other categories in there. I think they're all relatively balanced outside of Nisha's Striker AR. So yeah, Nisha's Striker AR, the damage per second is 251, which is almost the highest damage any weapon has ever had. I think I did a comparison at the start of the season. So for context, its fire rate is 251.1, so 251 damage per second. And for context, if you think the Mythic MK7 that was in chapter 3 season 1 2 around in chapter 3 where it was 230, and then Sky's Mythic Assault Rifle from chapter 2 season 2, the heist season, was 222. So this is by far the highest damage per second assault rifle we've ever had. If you watch players box fight with it, it's absolutely disgusting. They just sit on your wall, spray. It's there's almost nothing you could do against it if you have a weak wall. If you try to make an edit, they just keep spraying through at you. You have to max someone back. So Nisha's Striker AR, in my opinion, definitely needs a nerf. And that kind of goes together with what I said earlier about just the Striker ARs in close and medium range anyway. They are incredibly busted. The Montague's Enforcer AR, not that broken. Maybe it's only not that broken because no one's picked it up. Peter Griffin's Hammer Pump, it's pretty close to a legendary pump, so it's close to as good as the gold one. Really good as well. It's hard to say balanced or not. Valeria's Hyper SMG, so yeah, that has a damage per second of 204, which again is significantly less than a lot of SMGs have been in previous seasons. So I'm not against it. It is very, very strong, in particular because it's 38 bullets in the magazine, so that's very powerful. However, in all honesty, it's a mythic weapon. You're fighting for overspawn. I don't think it's too broken. Yeah, and then again, the mythic shotgun, as I said earlier, Oscar's Frenzy shotgun, it's kind of annoying if you get into the box with it. Someone will probably kill you, and I think there'll be some controller team who will probably land on this drop spot, and I see Miro landing on this, for example, and just absolutely abusing it to get in box and laggy lobbies. But again, maybe a little nerf to those auto shotguns, but I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it's anything to freak out about. So overall, is the loot pool bad? No, I think we're actually in a really, really good place this season. I think the loot pool, for the most part, is pretty good. But again, I think snipers are definitely the biggest problem, and they are absolutely frustrating. I think everyone feels our pain, or feels my pain as I say that with a tear in my eye. Hope you guys enjoyed this ramble. Catch you boys later. Peace.